My warmest greetings from Davao City, Philippines. I am Isidoro Malaki III from the University of the Philippines, Mindanao, and I am here to present my paper entitled Interlocking Blocks in Social Construction of Housing, Collaboration of Local Government, NGO, and the Urban Poor. Massive rural-to-urban migration resulted to shortage of affordable housing in the formal market sector. In the Philippines, in Davao City for example, a sheer number of urban migrants who need adequate shelter is beyond the capability of the private sector to provide through the formal housing market and the government through its socialized housing program. However, from the point of view of citizen participation, NGO initiatives are seen successful in assisting in the provision of housing and settlements for organized urban poor communities. Moreover, the ingenuity of the urban poor in providing their own shelter is also observed in their self-help housing initiatives. The traditional one-step regularization model, originated and successful in high-income countries, failed and was criticized when this model was adopted in developing countries because complete housing was delivered either by the private sector through the formal housing market or by the government through its socialized housing program. However, in the case study conducted in Davao City, Philippines, the one-step regularization model was observed successful in the provision of formal housing for the low-income sector because of the collaboration of the government for assistance on land development and security of tenure and NGO for participation in the construction of housing units. In the context of citizen participation, there is a need to explore on the contribution of the people, assisted by NGO in the formation of built environment. Thus, the aim of this research is to explore on the participation of various agencies in the social construction of low-income housing in Los Amigos relocation site, Davao City, Philippines. This study covered 33 housing units of the members of Samahang Matuti at Suliman, also known as Samasol Homeowners Association, who are beneficiaries of relocation site by the city government and assistance on housing construction by NGO. The current fieldwork was conducted in time of COVID-19 pandemic. Thus, strict protocol for preventive measure was observed. Provided by the government, Los Amigos relocation site is one of the latest relocation project of the city government of Davao. It is located approximately 21 kilometers northwest of the city center. The site has a total land area of 135,033 square meters that can accommodate at least 747 lots with a lot area of 80 square meters each, compliant to the minimum standards for socialized housing. In this case study, the Homeless People's Federation Philippines Incorporated played an important role in community organizing to support Samasol Homeowners Association to avail housing assistance. In terms of microfinancing, the community resources for the advancement of the capable society serve as the partner NGO to provide loans to qualified beneficiaries for the construction of core house units. Further, NGO assistance includes the construction of core houses by the Link Build Incorporated, supported by the Technical Assistance Movement for People and the Environment Incorporated for the design and technical matters. The core house is basically made of interlocking compressed earth blocks. This type of blocks, sometimes referred as bricks, was first used as alternative housing materials in African countries and later introduced to Asian countries through international network of NGOs for use in low-income housing projects. Compressed earth blocks were made of 10% cement and 90% lime soil. Upon occupancy, as initial step of incremental construction, these two sample housing cases remain almost the same in comparison with the core house provided by the NGO. The construction detail of the installation of interlocking compressed earth blocks shows the flexibility of the core house for further expansion of areas and incremental construction of structures. Further incremental constructions by the inhabitants were observed in response to their needs and in accordance to their financial capacity. For example, to shelter a multi-family household, affordable light building materials were used for makeshift expansion of the core house. By its nature, this current incremental construction is considered temporary. Another case of incremental improvement is observed in the appearance of an expansion in the front using concrete and masonry construction, which implies to carry an upper floor. In another case, to simply enhance safety and security and privacy, improvements were done focusing on the construction of permanent property walls and front entrance gate. 5 out of 33 housing cases covered in this case study were observed completed with permanent building materials for the housing structures and finished with tiles and paints, which demonstrates the end goal of incremental construction. As finished architectural product, the final form reflects the contribution of interlocking compressed earth blocks and the flexibility of the core house model to accommodate effective incremental construction by the inhabitants themselves during occupancy. Inspired from the interlocking compressed earth blocks as the basic building material for the construction of initial core housing units, the interlocking blocks in social term refers to the participation and collaboration and acts of the following agencies of social construction. The government as actor in the socio-political process. Its successful participation is demonstrated in the direct intervention by the local government unit, in this case the city government of Davao, on the provision of land and secured tenure for the urban poor housing beneficiaries. The NGO, in its participation in assisting the urban poor as producer in the socio-economic process, played important role in community organizing, provision of microfinancing, technical assistance in the design and construction of core housing units. The urban poor, as actor in both socio-economic and socio-cultural processes, demonstrated ingenuity in creating their own dwellings, in the process fit to their realistic needs and economic status in time. The co-production of architecture in this paper referring to a house as material expression of collaboration of the government, NGO, and the urban poor is demonstrated in this study. Thus, this study demonstrates an architecture that is socially constructed as a result of collaboration between various actors in the socio-spatial processes, most importantly, empowering the participation of the people who is the center in achieving sustainable development goals. This research was funded by the University of the Philippines, Mindanao. Acknowledgement is hereby extended to the presented organizations and people for their assistance and cooperation in the conduct of fieldwork and data collection amid this present COVID-19 pandemic. Thank you very much for paying attention to my presentation.